Hello, and thank you for joining us again at Voice of Rohingya Radio. We are a registered nonprofit coming to you from the state of Oregon in the United States of America. I would like to take some time to thank all of our listeners who allow this program to continue providing the latest news through our exclusive interviews, reports from inside the border, and reputable sources from around the world. If you would like to stay up to date with our program, you can find our weekly broadcasts every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Pacific online at youtube.com/VOR Radio, or you can join our page on Facebook to find more information on our activities and past programs. It is December 7th, 2014. For Voice of Rohingya Radio, I am your host, Zach Taylor. Today on the program, we have the pleasure of speaking with the Director General for the Arakan Rohingya Union and Chairman and Founder of the Burmese Rohingya Association of North America, Dr. Professor Waqar Uddin. Dr. Uddin, thank you so much for coming back on the program.
You're welcome.
Dr. Uddin, firstly, I'd like to ask you, we've been reporting on the U.S. Senate resolution introduced by the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee last Thursday. I know you're involved with that with ARU. Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes. Last Thursday, Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chair Robert Menendez, joined by the Republican side, Senator Mark Kirk, introduced the Resolution 586, condemning all forms of persecution and discrimination against the Rohingya ethnic minority in Burma, and calling on the regional governments to protect the rights of Rohingya refugees. The resolution passed out of the Senate Foreign Relations with full support from the committee. Now we are anxiously waiting for the next step coming up this week, actually, despite there's a very limited time left until the Senate adjourns for the holiday. This Resolution 586 has the same theme as Resolution 418 passed by U.S. House of Representatives recently. This resolution in Senate Resolution 586 outlined 27 specific points in it. It's very extensive, stating pretty much all the issues faced by Rohingya people in Burma. But I will just summarize it here with 8 major points resolved. The United States Senate calling on the government of Burma to develop a non-discriminatory and comprehensive solution for peace, security, harmony, and development under equitable and just application of the rule of law. Welcoming the government of Burma's announcement that MSF, that is the Doctors Without Border NGO, but not to restrict their operations. And other NGOs, that applies to other NGOs also. And U.S. Senate calling on the government of Burma to end all forms of persecution and discrimination against Rohingya people. And calling on the government to respect the Rohingyas' right to self-identification and redraft the citizenship law of 1982. Actually, this is very, very important one, which are central to Rohingya issue, this self-identification and citizenship law. U.S. Senate calling on government of Burma to support an international independent investigation into the violence has occurred in June 2012 and subsequently that has been going on until today, actually. U.S. Senate calling on the government of Burma to conform to the international standard for allowing AIDS relief supplies based on non-discrimination principles. And number 7 thing was that calling on the regional governments, that means, again, ASEAN countries and Bangladesh, to protect the rights of Rohingya asylum seekers and refugees, including the principle of non-refoulement. And lastly, another very important point was that calling on the government of the United States and international community to pressure the government of Burma to take appropriate measures to end the persecution and discrimination of Rohingya population and to protect the rights of ethnic and religious minority groups in Burma. So these are the major points resolved in the Resolution 586.
Could you elaborate a little bit more on your organization, the Arakan Rohingya Union's involvement in the resolution?
Oh, yeah. Of course, ARU was there along with our lobbying firm, Grybowski Global Strategies. But more importantly, our hats off to all the staff members of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and NGOs. And they are instrumental in this. NGOs such as Physicians for Human Rights, United to End Genocide, Congressman Tom Andrews' organization, Refugee International, Human Rights Watch, and also MSF, that's Doctor Without Borders, based in New York.
So it sounds like it was a very collaborative effort then.
Yeah. They are very, this group, they really work very hard on this. Without them, honestly, I don't believe that these folks, without them, this resolution could not have happened. Without their involvement, they are serious. They are serious dedication to Rohingya cause. That's instrumental.
Dr. Udin, I recently saw that you had a meeting with the foreign minister in the United Arab Emirates. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yes, I had a very good meeting with the United Arab Emirates State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Anwar Gargash, in the ministry in Abu Dhabi just last week. I have briefed the minister the central issues faced by Rohingya people in Burma. I went over all the details, and including the current situation on the ground in Arakan State, and the humanitarian crisis faced by IDPs in the camps in Arakan State, and Rohingya refugee situation in Bangladesh, India, and Thailand, and of course Malaysia. Malaysia not refugees, but these Rohingya people are living in Malaysia, and even in Indonesia and Australia. And how the human trafficking of Rohingya people in Thailand has affected our community in the region. And this is sad. This is it's a devastating things happen to our community. How the rise in bigotry in a small group of monks and some extremists has hijacked the entire Buddhist religion in Burma. And then other issues such as ARU's work at United Nations and our work with the U.S. State Department, U.S. Congress, both House and Senate, and even White House. And ARU's engagement with some important people in ASEAN countries, some folks in ASEAN countries also. So I discussed that with the foreign minister.
Were there any other engagements during your recent trip to the Middle East you'd like to talk about?
During my trip, I was in Saudi Arabia for about a week, and I had meetings with government officials in Saudi Arabia, ministry officials, and had similar discussions, and quite a few NGOs in Riyadh. I had a good meeting with them.
Dr. Udin, there was an event recently in Bangladesh involving the interrogation and subsequent arrest of some staff members of the ARU's Global Rohingya Center from the Netherlands. Would you like to describe kind of what happened and elaborate on that?
Yeah, the detention of the Rohingya humanitarian workers in Bangladesh is very unfortunate. GRC, that is Global Rohingya Center, is a branch of ARU, Arakan Rohingya Union. It is registered and operated out of the Netherlands. Its core mission is humanitarian aid for Rohingya refugees. Wherever there's needed, it doesn't matter which country where it is. They are quite dedicated in helping Rohingya refugees in Thailand, Malaysia, India, Bangladesh, or even inside Burma. This is clearly a conspiracy by the destructive elements from neighboring countries there. These destructive elements, are poised to smear the Rohingya people as extremists and thugs, and they always, they are quite connected to ethnic cleansing in Burma, in Arakan State, and I don't think these people are going to stop. This conspiracy from inside Burma and nearby other countries, some showing hostility against Rohingya people. But we understand that government of Bangladesh wants to maintain good bilateral relations with its neighbors. But at the same time, the officials in Bangladesh should be mindful of the primary reason for ethnic cleansing against Rohingya people in Burma. Rohingya people are basically scapegoats. would like to remind the government of Bangladesh how the Burmese are targeting the population boom in Bangladesh, and they are having a nervous wreck. But Rohingya people are paying the price. They are becoming hostage to that. Rohingya people have nothing to do with Bengalis in Bangladesh, but obviously Myanmar government is targeting that and calling the Rohingya as Bengali. So, as you know, apparently the officials in Bangladesh are overlooking the disdain and disgust that the Burmese are having against the Bengalis in Bangladesh. And now, it is now time for Bangladesh to wake up. This is a wake-up call for Bangladesh, and they should not be ignoring this. This is unfortunate. We hope this will be resolved peacefully without any problem, because these people are simply in Bangladesh exploring the means for coordinating some humanitarian aids for the refugees, because the winter is coming. It's already there. It's very cold, and there are over 250,000 refugees, registered and unregistered. And registered ones get some supplies from international NGOs, but unregistered ones are really in bad shape. And they need some blankets, they need winter supplies, and of course food and medicine. So what's wrong, helping them? I hope this Bangladesh government will understand that and then resolve this issue in a very dignified way.
So you're saying, and we've seen this before in Myanmar, that this is an example of forces trying to paint Rohingya as extremists.
Exactly. The radical elements in nearby countries, particularly in Burma, they are poised to destroy the image of Rohingya. Anybody who is doing good job and noble work are also extremist in their view and try to portray them as extremist.
Is there any chance we'll see an independent investigation on these events?
I hope there will be, because international community is not going to keep silent, and this is a concern for all of us, including international community. Now, this time, this group of people, who knows who will be next time, who will be targeted next time. So this could set a precedence for future development. They could be doing the time and again to humanitarian workers. It could be non-Rohingya humanitarian workers. It could be somebody else from Malaysia, somebody else from another country, maybe Europeans, who knows, American group. So we need to take this seriously, and I really hope that Bangladesh government will wake up and look at this from the right angle and resolve this so that this will not repeat again.
Dr. Udine, lastly, I'd like to ask you, there's been some negative development in Arakan State recently with the arrests of Rohingya people, the execution of the Rakhine State Action Plan, and a mass population movement with thousands of people sailing to Malaysia and Thailand on boats. What message do you have right now for the Rohingya people in Arakan State during this time of fear and doubt?
The Buddhist Rakhine, state and local officials will continue to harass Rohingya with false and fabricated charges, and honestly, often without charges. Their strategy is arresting, torture, imprisonment, or even killing Rohingya in some instances, just to make them to leave their homes, their villages, their homeland. That's their strategy. Here, the authorities are flatly denying this as though nothing has happened. And everything is good, everything is hunky-dory. That's what they're flatly denying that. You see in the report, United Nations report and others, thousands and thousands of people are leaving. That is clearly serving the purpose of the ethnic cleansing in Arakan State. Also, Rohingya people must understand, from our side, they should understand that Thailand, Malaysia, India, and Bangladesh are not their homes, not their countries. Our people should understand that. These countries are not their countries. They're not their homes. Why are you going there? We understand that, we are trying to escape persecution and violence and other things, but you have a cause. You have to understand you are leaving your homeland. They are putting, the Rohingya folks are putting their families in high risk, where human traffickers and sex traders are thriving in countries like Thailand. So these Rohingya families going to Thailand, sailing to Thailand, Malaysia, they can be target of the human traffickers. And we know all the horrible stories, involving Rohingya families. My message, you asked about my message. My message to Rohingya people is, if they want their rights in their homeland of Arakan state, they have to be steadfast and they have to have the resolve. They have to stand up, not running. They have to stand up. Yes, the government forces are going to kill, but how many they can kill? There are over 1.3, 1.4 million Rohingya still in there. So how many Rohingya they can kill? So we have to, our people have to understand that they have to face this. They cannot run. If the Rohingya people continue, our folks continue to run, then there will be more chasing, more arrest, and more torture by the government forces. That will encourage, if people start running, leaving their homes, that will encourage these people to even do more torture, more arrest. So they should be mindful of that. If they continue to sail to Thailand and Malaysia or cross into Bangladesh, emptying their villages, then for who we are fighting for? There will be nobody there, or less people there. So we have to have people in our kind of state, in our homeland, that we are fighting for. So that is very important point that I want to make it for the Rohingya people. I want to tell them that we are fighting for them. They will have to stay in their homeland. To all Rohingya people in Arakan, I want to say, if they want to regain their rights, they have to have a strong determination. They have to stay there in their homeland for their rights and the rights of their future generations in our kind of state.
Dr. Udine, thank you so much for being on the program again. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Once again, that was the Director General for the Arakan Rohingya Union and Chairman and Founder of the Burmese Rohingya Association of North America, Dr. Professor Waqar Udine. You are listening to Voice of Rohingya Radio. Myanmar's President Thein Sein approved a controversial religion and family planning draft law on Wednesday and submitted it to Parliament amid renewed criticism from rights advocates who say it discriminates against Muslims and women in the conservative, predominantly Buddhist country. Lawmakers will debate the legislation, which imposes restrictions on interfaith marriages, religious conversions, and birth rates in the next parliamentary session, according to reports. It is part of a series of 4 laws on marriage, religion, polygamy, and family planning proposed by a Buddhist organization called the Association for the Protection of Race and Religion, which is connected to a nationalist Buddhist monk group. The law, in part, would require Myanmar citizens who want to change their religion to seek various bureaucratic permissions, although penalties for violators have not yet been stated. In other news, Norway's foreign ministry is lodging a complaint with authorities in Myanmar after learning that poor families were forced to move out of a riverside slum area in Mandalay so that the area could be, quote, cleaned up before King Harold and Queen Sonia arrived by boat on Friday. Norwegian officials had no idea their counterparts in Myanmar would try to hide the country's poverty by dislocating an entire community. A member of the Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee in Parliament told Norwegian Broadcasting that this is unfortunate and extremely misunderstood to put a glossy picture on things, and added that Myanmar is a poor country and that is the poverty that Norway wants to address. United Kingdom members of parliament have called on the British government to reassess their relations with Myanmar, concerned about continued fighting in ethnic states, the use of sexual violence as a weapon of war, and the effective block on constitutional change. 12 MPs, led by Labour MP Miss Valerie Vaz, have called on the British government to support an international investigation into sexual violence in Myanmar and to fund the women's organizations which help survivors and document abuses. The motion includes a call on the British government to urge the Myanmar government to uphold its obligations under international law to end impunity and ensure accountability, and further calls on the government to urge the Myanmar government to amend the constitution to remove the current disqualification of Myanmar citizens with foreign children becoming president. Extremist Buddhist monks in Chittagong Hill Tracts have planned to form a Buddhist organization that resembles 969, an outfit of extremist Buddhists in Myanmar, sources say. Those who are part of the plan have also received training in Myanmar to implement the plan. Some 969 members have also paid a visit to Bangladesh to help monks in the hill tracts with their extremist activities. In the past few years, 969 has widely been known as an extremist movement organized by monks in Myanmar, with Ashin Wurathu being its key organizer. Wurathu has also been accused of instigating anti-Muslim riots in Myanmar. Please tune in next week when we'll be speaking with founder of Grybowski Global Strategies and instrumental lobbyist in Senate Resolution 586, Joseph Grybowski, who unfortunately couldn't be on the program today due to illness. You are listening to Voice of Rohingya Radio. Thanks again for listening to Voice of Rohingya Radio, a weekly news program bringing you up-to-date information about the Rohingya people in Myanmar. You can catch our broadcasts every Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time here in the United States at youtube.com/VOR Radio, or you can join our page on Facebook to find more information on the program. For Voice of Rohingya Radio, this is Zach Taylor, signing out.